Next time you walk down a flight of stairs, don't just watch your step, watch your own knee. There's a good chance it drifts inward for a split second with every step, and you've probably never noticed it happening to you. It happens fast, it happens quietly, and if you're over 60, there's a good chance it's been happening for years. That inward drift has a name in physical therapy circles: knee caving. The strange part? Most people think it's their knee causing the problem. In reality, the knee is often just the victim. The real problem usually starts somewhere lower, somewhere most people would never think to look. In just a moment, I'll show you the foot trick itself, the one physical therapists use to correct this almost instantly. But first, watch what happens inside the body that makes this tiny movement so powerful. In this video, you're going to learn exactly why your knee caves inward, and it's not because your knee is weak or it's not just getting older. It's about how 3 simple points on your foot are supposed to work together every time you take a step. You'll learn why this happens in the first place, why so many knee exercises miss the real cause, and how a simple foot technique can help improve the way your knee tracks while you walk. Some people notice the difference on the very first staircase they try. But before you try it, there's one small detail most people get wrong, and that detail is exactly why the trick doesn't work for some people the first time they attempt it. By the end, you'll understand not just what to do, but why it works, so it actually sticks. Think about the last time you stood up from a low chair or stepped down off a curb. Did you feel your knee wobble just slightly toward the other one? Maybe you caught yourself, or maybe you didn't even notice it, but someone walking behind you would have. This shows up in the most ordinary moments: getting out of the car, carrying grocery bags up the front steps, standing at the kitchen counter, shifting your weight while you wait for the coffee to brew. For a lot of people, it's not painful at first. It's just there, a subtle unsteadiness that feels like my knee doing its own thing. Over time, though, that small inward cave can start to add up. Some people notice their knees ache more by the end of the day. Others feel like their balance isn't quite what it used to be, especially on uneven ground or in a crowded parking lot. And a few start to wonder if this is simply what getting older feels like. Here's the reassuring part: it's not just aging. This is a pattern, and patterns can be understood and often corrected. But to understand why your knee is doing this, we have to stop looking at the knee for a moment and look at what's happening underneath it. Before I show you the trick, try something with me. Stand up if you can, look down at your feet, and notice where your weight naturally sits. Most people discover something surprising right here. If your weight feels heavier on the inside of your foot than the outside, remember that feeling. It'll make sense in the next 60 seconds. Here's the part most people never get taught. Your foot has 3 main points of contact with the ground: the base of your big toe, the base of your little toe, and your heel. Physical therapists sometimes call this the foot tripod. Just like a real tripod needs all 3 legs to keep something steady, your foot needs all 3 of these points working together to keep your whole leg stable. When one of those points collapses, most often the inner arch right behind the big toe, your foot rolls inward. This is called overpronation. And here's the connection most people miss. Your foot, ankle, knee, and hip are all linked in one moving chain. So when your arch collapses and your foot rolls in, that inward motion doesn't stop at the ankle. It travels straight up the chain and shows up as your knee drifting inward too. Think of it like a row of dominoes standing close together. Tip the first one and the rest follow, not because they're weak, but because they're connected. Your knee caving isn't a knee problem on its own. It's often the last domino in a chain that started at the foot. Research in biomechanics has consistently shown that foot posture is a key driver of knee alignment during walking and standing. It's also why so many knee exercises alone don't fully solve the problem. They're working on the last domino, not the first one. So if the real issue starts at the foot, that's exactly where the solution should start too. So here's the trick, and it really is simple enough to try right now, wherever you're sitting. Press your big toe, your little toe, and your heel down into the floor at the same time, like you're trying to make a tripod out of your foot. Don't curl your toes, just gently press all 3 points down and feel your inner arch lift slightly, almost like it's waking up. Physical therapists sometimes call this the short foot exercise, and it's designed to retrain the small muscles that support your arch. Now here's why this matters for your knee. The next time you stand up or take a step, try activating that same tripod first. Heel, big toe, little toe, all pressing down together before your knee even starts to move. Many people notice their knee tracks straighter almost immediately because the foundation underneath it is finally doing its job. Some people notice the change immediately, while for others it becomes more noticeable with a little practice. If you're sitting right now, don't wait until the end of the video. Press your foot into a tripod this very second and feel that small lift in your arch. That feeling is the muscle waking up. If you can feel your arch lifting even a little, you're doing it correctly. This won't feel like much at first. That's normal. The muscles that hold your arch up are small, and if they've been sleeping for years, they need practice, not intensity. A few seconds here and there, while brushing your teeth, waiting in line, standing at the sink, is far more effective than one long session. But there's one detail that trips people up, and it's the reason this trick doesn't work the first time for some people. Footwear. A soft, squishy insole or a narrow toe box won't let your foot spread out and grip the ground the way it needs to. You could do this exercise perfectly and still feel like nothing's changing, not because the trick failed, but because your shoes won't let your foot finish the job. Let's talk about why this actually holds up. Clinical gait studies have found that foot posture, especially how much the arch collapses during walking, directly influences how the knee tracks during everyday activities like walking and climbing stairs. That's part of why physical therapists routinely assess the feet when someone comes in with knee complaints, even if the person never mentioned their feet at all. Take a common scenario. Someone comes in with knee pain that started out of nowhere, and the knee looks structurally fine on imaging. But when a therapist watches them walk, the pattern is obvious. The arch collapsing with every step, the knee following right behind. Strengthening the knee alone often gives limited, short-lived relief. Once the foot stability improves, many people notice their knee behaves differently almost right away, simply because the chain underneath it is finally holding steady. Footwear matters just as much as the exercise itself. A wide, natural toe box and a firmer, more supportive sole give those small foot muscles something solid to press against. None of this requires special equipment or a gym membership. It requires understanding where the real problem starts and giving your foot the support and practice it needs to do its job again. So here's how to put all of this together starting today. First, practice the tripod press for just a few seconds at a time. Heel, big toe, little toe, pressing evenly into the ground. Do this while standing at the sink, waiting for the kettle, or before you take your first steps in the morning. Little and often beats one long session. Second, pay attention to your shoes. Look for a wide toe box that lets your toes spread naturally, and a sole that's supportive rather than overly soft and squishy. If your current shoes feel like walking on a mattress, that's often a sign they're working against your arch instead of with it. Third, bring awareness into your daily movement. Before you stand up from a chair, before you step off a curb, before you climb a stair, activate that tripod first. Let your foot find its footing before your knee has to react to it. Here's the insight that ties it all together. Your knee was never the problem to begin with. It's simply been reacting to instability happening one joint below it. Once your foot has a stable three-point foundation, your knee often has far less work to do, which is why so many people notice a difference not in weeks, but sometimes within the same day they start paying attention to this. You don't need to fix everything at once. Sometimes the difference between avoiding a walk and looking forward to one isn't a stronger knee. It's simply giving your body a stronger foundation to stand on.